Basic Appraisal Procedures, page 234. Example number 2. Given the following data, find the capitalization rate. So we start with gross income, which is probably going to be potential gross income, of $250,000. Expenses equal $130,000. Depreciation equals $50,000. Debt service equals $25,000. Value equals $800,000. The same net income rules apply, but we need a different formula. Income divided by value equals rate. Here is $250,000, which was the potential gross income, minus the $130,000, which is expenses, whatever the result of that was, which should be $22,000, I think. Right there. Divided by $800,000 equals, and it shows a question mark. So down here, it's $120,000 divided by $800,000, which was the value of the home, the sale price, equals 0.15. You move the decimal over to the right 2 places. 1, 2 is 15%, equals 15%, is the cap rate, capitalization rate. Example number 3. Given a property value and investors' desired capitalization rate, find the net income needed to achieve the desired return. Value equals $800,000. Capitalization rate equals $15,000. Here's the formula. Value multiplied by rate equals income. $800,000 multiplied by 15% equals $120,000 net income needed. A property generates $100,000 in annual income if monthly expenses are $3,000 and the capitalization rate is 9%. What is the value of the property? Step 1, find the net annual income. Take the gross annual income minus annual expenses, monthly expenses, times 12. $100,000 minus $36,000 equals $64,000 in annual net income. Step number 2, the value of the property can be found by IRV. Net income divided by rate equals value. $64,000 divided by 9% equals $711,111.11 is value of the property. Page 235. Extra problems. A property has an annual income of $75,000 and monthly building expenses of $32,000. Annual debt service is $19,200 and depreciation is 5% of value. Using a capitalization rate of 9%, determine the value of the building. I'm not going to do all that right now. Income approach. Gross rent multiplier, GRM. A property's relative value can be derived by comparing the potential gross rent among similar properties. The value or selling price for each property is divided by the gross rent or income that the property commanded or could command in the marketplace, arriving at a gross rent multiplier, GRM figure. Value divided by gross monthly rent equals gross rent multiplier. Or you take the rental property sale price and divide it by the gross rent equals GRM. The gross rent or expected rent from the subject property is then multiplied by the GRM derived in the first step to give an estimate of value for the subject property. Gross rent or expected market rent times GRM equals estimated value. A rental property generates an income of $800. Calculate the gross rent multiplier if the value of the property is $100,000. Value divided by gross income equals GRM. $100,000 was the value of the property divided by $800, which was the rent, equals 125. Important points. The GRM method uses gross income. Ignore any data on expenses. With GRM questions, consider the following terms interchangeable. Value equals sale price. Remember that. That's a very important one. And gross annual income equals gross rent. Those terms are interchangeable. Just remember that. That's a big one, especially value and sale price. It's the same thing when they're talking about it. Gross annual income, gross rent. Just they go back and forth. It's like the same word. If a question provides annual rent, divide by 12 to determine monthly rent. And then it shows the ERV formula. IRV, NOI was $120,000. Shows the R for GRM, which was 15%. And obviously the value of $800,000 right there. And it shows the multiply on the bottom of the T. Little ERV up here, $2,200, $10,000, $9,540 values. I don't know what I was writing.